Alright, everybody. It's me again, here to finish Saving Private Bloom. Um, yeah, I really want to get past this tragedy of a recording. I've been really screwing up on this one. And I'm still kind of sick, but regardless of that, I do want to get finished with this so we can move on to bigger and better things. So here we go. Saving Private Bloom, The Farewell. The pink posy leaped at Applejack, who was able to roll off Carrot Top's corpse just in time as the posy landed on the body, emitting a disgusting crunching sound on impact. Applejack, with tremendous speed, pinned down the posy, flipped her over, and began kicking and beating her. Applejack then took out her knife and attempted a stab at the posy, who grabbed Applejack's hooves at the last moment. They wrestled with the knife until the posy was able to flip Applejack over, who was still trying to stab the posy. The posy was able to grab the knife from Applejack and attempted to stab her, but Applejack was able to stop her just in time. It was like a mirror of what had happened before, only this time the posy seemed to be winning. The posy's knife hand... Okay, I'll change that for him. The posy's knife hoof was inching closer to Applejack's heart. Applejack had true terror in her face now, and tried to plead with the posy. Applejack's pleas, however, were cut off by the knife reaching her chest and piercing the skin. Applejack's eyes widened, and the knife was inserted into her chest and sinking deeper into her body. Her breathing was struggled and was slowing down as the pink posy was shushed her to sleep. Okay, that was a mistake there. Then somebody grabbed me from behind and galloped with me away from the awful scene. I was the only one left now. Macintosh and Applejack were both gone. Only me. Just me. Why? Why me? And where was Fluttershy? Why didn't she help her? While we were running toward the bridge, we saw Hooves shooting at the Germains. He was headed in the same direction as us, but right then a shot came from one of the Germains and hit his back hoof. I heard him yell something that sounded like, "Son of a mare!" and cringe. But he kept going. A little slower this time. He galloped inside a building, but came out almost as quickly as he entered, this time with Fluttershy, who was crying. Just then, from behind Sparkle and I, a panther came crashing down on us and nearly flattened us. How it happened, I still don't know, and I can't even guess, but it was still moving. We had to run between buildings to get to the bridge in one piece. Only some of the resistance had survived, maybe 10 ponies plus us, had made it to the bridge. Spike was shooting rockets at the Germains when we got to the bridge, which had walls of sandbags for cover. Hooves had been separated from Fluttershy by a grenade explosion, and we couldn't find Fluttershy anywhere. That Pegasus really knows how to lose herself, I thought, as Sparkle and I crossed the bridge to the Alamo. There, Sparkle fused the bombs together, but got shot in the hoof in the process. Blood was trickling out of her bullet wound as we called the remaining soldiers over to the Alamo. Spike ran with Hooves, who now had 2 bullet wounds, one in the back hoof and one in his shoulder. As they were crossing, he took one more straight through his other back hoof. He stumbled, but was saved by Spike, who carried him fireman style to us. "Hooves, you okay?" Sparkle yelled over the gunfire. "I'm fine. Just got the wind knocked out of me," Hooves said slowly, bleeding from 3 places now. "Well, get out of here. The bridge is gonna blow." That sounded like a Brooklyn accent. Oh well. I helped Hooves up and ran into the Alamo building, which was far enough not to take damage from the explosion. As we entered, I saw Spike activate the charges. Every pony who now had 30 seconds to get away from the bridge, but we still didn't know where Fluttershy was. She'd be trapped on the other side of the bridge. But she's a Pegasus. She can just fly over it. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Why aren't the Pegasus Germains just flying over the bridge to get to them? Like, what? Oh, shit. Why does the bridge even matter if you can just fly the stuff over? I mean, other than armor, obviously, but still. Where was I? She'd be trapped on the other side of the bridge. Then, to make matters worse, a tiger tank shot a shell directly at Sparkle, who saw this coming, leaped out of the way, but was still blasted about 10 feet into the air. She landed in front of a car, dazed but not dead. She leaned her back against the car and looked at her surroundings. Spike was still shooting his weapon while getting across the bridge. A pony was on the bridge, being chased by posies, who shot at him, but missed. He shot back, taking out 3, and ran out of ammo. He took his helmet off and threw it at them and took off galloping, but was still struck in the back of the head by a gun handle. A posy had just struck him. He fell over and the posy beat him to death with the gun. How this was all happening in less than 30 seconds, I can't tell. I just know this had to be the worst thing ever to happen to me. I turned to Hoofs to ask for his weapon, but he was laying down on the ground, pale as snow, staring into nothingness. He lost too much blood. I took his gun and aimed it out the window and shot as many posies as I could get in range with. I checked my watch to see how much time had passed. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. And to my surprise and dismay, 2 minutes had gone by since Sparkle activated the charges. That meant they weren't wired correctly. I would have killed myself right then if Sparkle wasn't still alive. The Germain tanks were crossing the bridge now. Spike was running to cover, leaving Sparkle completely vulnerable. She took out a pistol and slowly fired 1 shot. 2 shots. 3 shots hit the tank in front and did nothing. 1 bullet hit her below the shoulder, but she gave no reaction. 4 shots. Still nothing. On her 5th shot, however, I saw the tank blow up in a cloud of smoke and fire. I was completely taken aback by this. Surely the tiny pistol couldn't have taken out the tank. But to explain my confusion, an airplane flew over the bridge, killing all the posies on it and taking the second tank and the second tank. Reinforcements had arrived. The planes didn't get the posies on the other side, though. When I looked across the bridge on the other side, I saw that Fluttershy had plucked up some courage and rounded up the last posies. Such an unexpected turn made me smile, and thankful Fluttershy had survived. She was aiming a shotgun at a group of 5 posies. The last ones after the airplane came. The pink one that killed my sister said something to Fluttershy with a look of amused amazement on her face, which was soon wiped off when Fluttershy shot her in the gut, causing her internal organs to spill out in front of her. The pink pony fell to the ground, landing on her own insides. Fluttershy yelled something at the other posies and took off galloping in all directions. And they took off galloping in all directions, except across the bridge. Applejack had been avenged. I rushed out of the Alamo building and cantered to where Sparkle was laying. Spike was cleaning her wounds with a wet piece of tissue paper, but it didn't look like she was going to make it. Medic! Spike was shouting. Medic! We need a medic over here! Sparkle was staring at the planes circling overhead. She then turned her head to my flank and mumbled something to me. What, ma'am? I said, leaning closer. She was still bleeding. You earned it, she said. I stared at her, wondering what she meant. But then I realized what, and turned my head to my flanks. On them was what I had been trying to get my whole life, my cutie mark. Oh, that's a pretty good way to go with it. Wow. It was a war helmet in between 2 rifles that were intersecting. But I didn't want to earn my cutie mark this way. Not through death, loss, doubt, blood, and pain. I didn't want to earn my cutie for killing people. Ponies. God, stop. He keeps going to human things, Jiggers. Tears were forming in my eyes as I looked back at Sparkle. That's when I realized she was no longer looking at me or the planes or the troops. She wasn't looking at anything. Her eyes were off focus and didn't blink. Spike hurried over to check her pulse, and her eyes too started swimming in tears, and his eyes too started swimming in tears as he lowered his head. I was sent home 2 hours later after I said a few words to all who had died in this battle. Rainbow Dash, Applejack, Carrot Top, Berry Punch, Hooves, and Sparkle. I said, well, I'm assuming those are all the people that she knows that died. I said goodbye to the ones who were still alive and to the ones who were dead, and climbed into the helicopter. I thought this was World War II based, but okay. Climbed into the helicopter to fly me out of there. That all leads to me being here, recording my past experiences in this journal while on an evac chopper taking me home. Here I come, Apple Acres. And for the last chapter, which is something like 200 words, alright, the epilogue. Apple Bloom closed the journal reflecting on her past experiences 30 years ago, when she served in the Equestrian Army. She'd forgotten how horrible it was to lose someone you cared about. On that day, though, she had lost many. She was glad she decided to read her old journal. It brought back memories, though they may not be the best ones. What she knew was that all those people who had died fighting and had done so protecting their country. They had to be the most patriotic, brave, and inspirational people she knew. She looked at her cutie mark and smiled. Apple Bloom got up from the desk she was sitting at and walked to the kitchen to make some breakfast, when she realized that she had 10 minutes to get to school. I guess the education system's really different if she's over 30 years old and in school. I guess it could happen, though. She lopped to the door, thrust it open, and galloped as fast as she could to get to her school. She made it on campus in 5 minutes, where she took her time to catch her breath and walk to the classroom. Oh, she's a teacher. Okay, never mind. That makes perfect sense. Her students were lined up by the door, waiting for her to unlock it. "Good morning, class," she said to them. "Good morning, Miss Bloom," they called back in unison. "We should get inside, shouldn't we?" Apple Bloom said, and unlocked the door to let everybody in. 2 little rascals were playing hoof gun on their way to their seats. One was a Pegasus, while the other was just a normal filly. I assume he means Earth Pony by that. "Now come on, Streak and Curly," Apple Bloom called. "No playing guns." "Aw, but Miss Bloom," whined Curly. "We just want to go into the Equestrian Army like you." I know, but you're too young for that." But you were our age when you joined," complained Streak. "Yes, but I went reluctantly. They pulled me in." "Will they pull us in too?" "Yeah, will they?" "No, I don't think they'd do it just yet." At least tell us what it was like." "Yeah, come on, Miss Bloom, tell us. Please? Please?" Well, I guess you could say it was pretty overwhelming." The clock struck 8 a.m. and the school church bell rang. "All right, class. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance." The students stood up, put their hoof over to their hearts, and faced the equestrian flag. Apple Bloom mimicked them, and faced the equestrian flag herself, and recited, I pledge allegiance to the princess and the United States of and the United Cities of Equestria, and to the royal guards for which they stand. Wow, this guy did some good syllable work. One nation under the mayor, indivisible, with cutie marks and friendship for all. I'm pretty sure I've seen now 3 or 4 different variations of the Equestrian Pledge of Allegiance. So that's the end, and now that this ridiculously bad recording on my part is now over, I can get on to some better, or, well, not necessarily better stories, but different stories. And I am hoping soon to invest in a better mic. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Gotta work for a little while to build up the money, but, you know, I'll get there eventually. Thanks to anybody who's been watching our videos or keeping track of us, and any feedback is deeply appreciated. Thanks.